Fox Sports.
It is an absolutely picture-perfect night for baseball. Game 2 of this three-game series between the Cincinnati Reds and the Philadelphia Phillies, and the Reds coming away winners in the opener here last night. And hi again, everybody. Alongside Chris Welsh, I'm Tom Brenneman. Welcome, as always, to Reds Baseball right here on Fox Sports Ohio. Games like last night, Chris, the Reds don't have a lot of experience in big games, big series. Guys that have played in big games and big series. The left side of the infield fits that bill, and both delivered big time last night.
Well, you know, Walt Jocketty brought the two guys in you're referring to, Scott Rowland, Orlando Cabrera, because they're winning players. And they showed you last night in a big game. Yes, it's only June, but still, against the Phillies, it's a big game. And Scott Rowland has been answering these kind of questions all year long. A home run right there. He had a big-time home run last night. He plays some defense. Scott Rowland is the leader of this ball club. Make no mistake about that. And when he's not there to lead, Orlando Cabrera steps right in. And Cabrera, you know, who's been hot all year long. And then he goes into a little bit of a mini slump, but the last week or so, boy, has he been raring to go, swinging the bat a whole lot better. He made two of the better defensive plays I've seen him make all year last night. When he goes deep into the hole right there, he just robs a hit away from Chase Utley. How about snatching one out of the sky right there like catching a butterfly with your eyes closed?
It should be noted, Rowland is not in the lineup tonight. Miguel Cairo will start at third. And for the Phillies, Placido Polanco on the disabled list. Chase Utley goes to the disabled list after injuring his thumb sliding into second base last night. So neither will get a look at Mike Leake. He'll be on the mound tonight for the Reds. We'll talk more about the Reds rookie sensation in a moment. High-definition television courtesy of our friends from H.H. Gregg. Boy, the weather, it could not be any better. But what about the remainder of tonight? Let's check in with Tim Hedrick.
Yes, game 2 with the Phillies. Last night, good outcome. Hoping for another good outcome tonight. The weather is with you, my friends. 71 at 9 o'clock, down to 68 by the time we get to about 11 o'clock. Light winds out of the northeast. Picture perfect for a little bit of baseball. Enjoy the game, everybody.
Well, Tim is dialed in. Thank you very much. Mike Leake has been dialed in since day one of his professional career. For more on what he's up against tonight, who better to hear from than Chris Welsh and the Cowboy?
Hey, thanks, Tom. Yep, we snatched Jeff Brantley away from the radio booth to talk a little pitching here, and Mike Leake gets the ball against the Phillies. Not a normal assignment.
No, it really isn't, and I think for a young player that's having to pitch against a club that was in the World Series last year, and here he is coming out of college, and like he said, this is like pitching against UCLA for him. Tough assignment. He's got to go out and do the best he can, but I really believe, Chris, that Mike Leake is one of those guys. He loves the competitive nature of what this game brings. Loves facing a team that would be like the Yankees or the Red Sox, or now with the Phillies coming into town. Even though it's the first time to face this ball club, I think his competitive nature, this is the kind of game that makes him better.
Yeah, this is a really interesting kind of offense that they've got. Yes, they're missing 3 of their top players out there. Chase Utley just on the disabled list, but they still have 2 leadoff hitters at the very top. You know, when you got Jimmy Rollins and then Victorino back-to-back, and then the big boy in the middle, Ryan Howard. What's he got to do to be good tonight?
Well, I think the big thing for Mike is to use all of his pitches. And I think in any ball game where he gets caught without one pitch or looks at a pitch and it doesn't do well for him, those are the games that he's had the tough times. The last couple of starts before Oakland where he gave up the 5 runs, I think he got away from his breaking ball because it wasn't doing what he wanted it to, and it hurt him. And I think tonight he'll go into the ball game, he'll use that changeup because he'll have to keep this club off his fastball. He'll throw his breaking ball for strikes, and he'll use that sinker on both sides of the plate, and he'll use that little comebacker every once in a while to get the big boys out.
Talking pitching with the Cowboy, watching Mike Leake deal on the mound, that's what I call a pretty good game. Tom, what do you say?
I say it's time to tee it up. Chris, Cowboy, thank you. Chris got to rush upstairs now and make it back to the booth for the first pitch. Looks at a first pitch, ball 1 in this game is underway from 5-1 rookie right-hander Mike Leake. Leake making his 15th start of this season, an outstanding 2.92 ERA. And there's a strike to Victorino. 1-1 to count.
Well, he wants a lot of those pitches down around the knees. Only 22 years old. Lots of movement on every pitch he throws. And, boy, can he field his position. One of the reasons why he's been so good, he's able to get a lot of ground balls right back to him.
And a pop-up into shallow left center field is run down by Chris Heisey. Victorino retired. One away. Let's take a look at the Rumpke big starting lineup for the Phils without Polanco, without Ruiz, without Chase Utley. Greg Dobbs will play at third. Rollins drops to the 3 spot. Ryan Howard in the cleanup spot. Jason Worth in right. Raul Ibanez in left. The latter third of Brian Schneider. Valdez from third to second base. And Joe Blanton, the Kentucky native, is on the mound. Greg Dobbs just brought back up from the minor leagues, batting at .152. He's a much better hitter than that. They sent him back down to get his stroke straightened out. He was only down at the AAA level for all of 17 at-bats. And here he is right back with a big league club, and more than likely is going to see a lot of playing time. Polanco put on the disabled list along with Chase Utley just before the game here tonight. Charlie Manuel, the skipper of a 2-time defending National League champion Philadelphia Phillies, has won 3 straight division championships as manager of the Phils. 2-2 to Greg Dobbs. And that misses inside to run it full. Popped up third base, no problem for Miguel Cairo in foul ground, and there are 2 away. The injury to Utley last night on the ball he drove into left center where Drew Stubbs threw him out. And right there is where he got hurt. So here you have a pair of guys that were on their way to starting for the National League All-Star team. Utley for sure. Polanco, as of today, still just barely ahead of David Wright among all vote getters at third for the National League All-Star team. And now both will miss the remainder of this series, and more than likely the entire series between the Reds and the Phillies in Philadelphia. Polanco conceivably, because the injury is retroactive, could come back for the final day before the All-Star break. Rollins, a fly ball to straightaway center field, and how about that, a 12-pitch opening inning for Mike Leake to retire the side in order. Here come the Reds when we come back. Brought to you by State Farm. Like a good neighbor, State Farm is there. By Ford F-Series trucks, the best-selling trucks 33 straight years. By Just for Men, for mustache and beard, keep your edge. And by Skyline Chili, you know it's Skyline time when you get that craving for a Skyline 3-layer cheese Tony's. Joe Blanton in his second full year with the Phillies after coming over in 2008 from Oakland via the trade.
Well, he's now 29 years old, of course, a product of the University of Kentucky just down the road in Lexington. He's got good control and a very good changeup. The home runs have hurt him this year, but Joe Blanton plans to be right around the strike zone tonight as usual.
Brandon Phillips to lead it off. Had one hit last night, scored a run. A .309 batter looks at a strike. There you see the numbers on Blanton. They're not pretty. In 60 2/3 innings, has given up 77 hits. Outstanding control, as Chris mentioned. He's only walked 14, but he's given up the 13 home runs. Traditionally, Blanton has always been a far superior pitcher over the second half of the year than during the first half. And now the 1-1 to Brandon. And it's line hard into right field, and it gets by Jason Worth. This will be 3 bases for Brandon Phillips. He's making a turn. Here comes the throw, and he is safe at third.
Jason Worth took a chance right there making a shoestring catch, and it didn't work out for him. Inside out swing by Brandon Phillips. Got to remember, though, coming off the bat of a right-hander, it's going to be fading away from that right fielder. A good relay by the Phillies, but Brandon Phillips, hey, is he taken to the leadoff spot or what? He gets that foot in there just in time.
So now a scoring chance right from the get-go. Orlando Cabrera digging in. 28 runs batted in. Just coming off a great night last night, up through the middle, of ground ball, and that'll score the run. On the very first pitch, Cabrera takes care of business, and after 2 batters in the game, the Reds have a 1-0 lead. The rest of the lineup presented by Remke Biggs. Joey Votto coming up. Johnny Gomes in a cleanup spot. No Scott Rowland tonight. Jay Bruce in right. Miguel Cairo replaces Rowland at third. Chris Heisey, a rare start in center. Ramon Hernandez and Mike Lee. Joey Votto, like Cabrera. A huge night last night, along with Scott Rowland for that matter. Cabrera 3 hits, Votto 3 hits, each knocking in a run. And Rowland drove in 3, including a 2-run home run. Grounded foul. Joey, a .312 batter, 16 home runs, 51 batted in. He takes on the outside corner to strike. C.B. Buckner, the home plate umpire. Doug Eddings at first, Kerwin Danley at third, and the crew chief is at second base, Dana Dubuque. To the count on Votto. Left foot in the box, followed by the right. And now the payoff pitch. And chop foul. We talked about Blanton in his career. 6 games under 500 through the first half of the season with an ERA of up over 4.5. 31-18 in the second half during his career with an ERA under 4. Driven hard into deep right center field, and Victorino with just enough room to away. Philly on defense presented by Ford. Victorino flanked by Ibanez and Worth. Greg Dobbs at third, Rollins at short. Valdez replaces Utley at second. Howard at first. A battery of Blanton and Brian Schneider. Schneider in there for Carlos Ruiz. Strike 1 to Johnny Gomes. Johnny only 1 hit in 12 at-bats with an RBI during the first 4 games of this homestand. He has cooled off considerably trying to get it rolling again starting tonight. The good news is during the homestand, the Reds are 3-1 without Johnny hitting much. In fact, Johnny Gomes hitless in his last 10 at-bats. And that'll come to an end right now. To the wall in left center field. That'll be a 2-out double for Johnny Gomes.
Well, Johnny Gomes, one of those typical hitters who gets very hot and then very cold, but he waits nicely on a slider right there by Joe Blanton and is able to get the sweet spot of the bat on it and drive it right in the seam in left center field. Blanton not happy with himself for hanging the slider.
That'll bring Jay Bruce to the plate. Jay with a chance to add to this 1-0 first inning Reds lead and takes low for ball one. Got to wonder how much he'll get to hit in this at bat with a base open and a right-handed batter, Miguel Cairo, waiting on deck. We'll see. Ooh, good pitch to hit right there. Fastball on the inside corner. Cardinals had a gift-wrapped win last night in the bottom of the 9th inning. Arizona took a 2-run lead into the bottom of the 9th and threw the ball all over the field, allowing the Cardinals to score 3 runs and come from behind to win. So still a half-game lead for the Reds beginning play tonight in the National League Central Division. Three and two now to Jay Bruce. The Phillies, meanwhile, in third in the National League East. 3.5 behind front-running Atlanta. 2 games behind second place New York. 3-2. We'll do it again. And we talked a lot about Chris in National League West to keep an eye on that division. I think this is going to be a great race in the NL East.
I'll tell you, neither of those top 3 teams are going to fold up their tents. I can guarantee you that. And Florida has already made a managerial change trying to spark that team back into the race.
2-out walk to Jay Bruce.
You know, last year we did not see very many at-bats like that out of Jay Bruce. What we're looking at is the maturing of a baseball player right before your very eyes. Well, he's only 22, 23 years old, Jay Bruce is, and I mean, he's got 1.5 years plus in the major leagues now. And, you know, when you first come up, you're so anxious, you're so worried about striking out and making outs that you swing at bad pitches, but he's working the count much better now than ever before, making himself just a tough out.
Now Miguel Cairo. Got a strike. Been a while since Miguel Cairo started and batted 6th in the lineup. Got to go back to September 2008 while with Seattle. He's in there tonight batting in the 6th hole. And in his 15 starts this year, he has been so good, including that run of a week, replacing the injured Joey Votto. And he's drilled in the shoulder to load him up for Chris Heiser.
That Charlie Manuel's got to be wondering, my starting pitcher right here is giving the Reds a chance, and they're on somewhat of a roll right now to just blow this game open here in the first inning. As easy as Mike Leake made it look in his top half of the inning, Joe Blanton is making it look that difficult in the bottom half. That's what you do when you know the pitch is so far inside, there's no way you're getting out of it. You just kind of make a face and take it. You know, this is a spot where Chris Heisey really ought to be ready to swing on the very first pitch. If he gets one right down Broadway, now I'm not saying chase a pitcher's pitch, don't chase one up out of the zone, don't chase one down, but I mean, if it is belt high and medium warm, go ahead and let it rip.
Well, there it was.
Yeah.
That was just as you described it. 90 miles an hour. In this day and age, that's medium warm.
It is.
And right down the can. 0-1 to Heisey. Hit that ball hard, but right around. And that'll end the inning. But the Reds get a run. They leave them loaded. We go to the second. 1-0 Cincinnati.
Wanted to see out of Ramon Hernandez. You know, it's funny. There's two guys on his ball club that came with reputations as being less than what they used to be defensively. One was Ramon Hernandez. I don't see that at all. The other was Orlando Cabrera, and he's been exactly opposite. So they've been delightful defensively. Ramon Hernandez has been on fire offensively. And he's back there calling just the right numbers and signs for Mike Leake so far.
And both have been great in the clubhouse.
Oh, yeah.
Ryan Howard swing and a miss, 1 ball and 1 strike.
You know, the thing to watch with Mike Leake, and you're going to see this because it's like night and day with Joe Blanton. He cannot throw a ball straight. He's almost like a left-handed, right-handed pitcher, where the ball just runs all over the place.
Full back-to-back changeups. Wow.
And he does it so easily. I mean, back-to-back changeups for most pitchers is something that's tough to do, because you figure the hitter's going to dial in on the previous one for the next one and be all ready for it. But not with Leake. He's just got such superb arm action.
Went out there again.
And he gets that movement with kind of a low arm angle. You compare the arm angle of Leake, say, and Joe Blanton. Blanton's kind of a short armor, but still, he keeps his fingers on top, but his arm is low.
If I'm not mistaken, that is 4 consecutive changeups he has now thrown to Ryan Howard.
It is.
They appeal down to third, and no, says Kerwin Downey.
And this was not a changeup because this one cuts into Ryan Howard, so it has to have some spin on it, kind of like a slider.
And he missed with that same pitch again. That's a leadoff walk to Ryan Howard. Reds on defense presented by Ford. Gomes, Heisey, Bruce in the outfield. Cairo, Cabrera, Phillips, Votto third to first, with Hernandez hanging the sides for Mike Leake. Jason Worth, the batter, at .292, 13 home runs, 47 driven in. No Scott Rowland. For more on that, here's Jim Day.
Tom, Scott Rowland was originally scheduled to be off tomorrow, but he and Dusty sit down and talk about when he's going to be off. It has to do with how Rowland's feeling, day-night games, who's pitching, etc. Well, Scott stepped up and said, you know, last time I was off, Miguel Cairo had to face Zach Greinke, and he'll have to face Roy Halladay tomorrow, so let's give Miguel a game in which he's going to have more success, perhaps. So he stepped up and said, I want to face Roy Halladay, so put Miguel in there tonight, plus it'll rest me up for what is 5 straight day games after tonight's game. That's a teammate right there.
Big leaguer.
Nice report, Jim.
Two and one to Jason Worth.
Well, that's what veteran status gets you also. When you know, oftentimes managers will just go up to a guy and say, guess what, you're getting a day off today. But if you're Scott Rowland, you know, you sit down and you talk about it. The only other guy I know around here that gets to do that is you.
Are you looking at me?
Yes, I am. Look, I'm talking about you.
3-2 to Jason Worth. Oh, brother. Back-to-back walks to begin the inning.
Yeah, this is the one thing that has been kind of the one small deficiency in the game of Mike Leake so far has been occasional wildness. And at first you think it's, well, he doesn't want to give in to a hitter. So that's why he's going to pitch around and maybe get to the next guy. But in this Philadelphia Philly lineup, the problem is the next guy's pretty good too. And you can't just start putting guys on base in this ballpark and expect to always be able to work your way out of a jam.
Strike one to the left fielder, Raul Ibanez. He clubbed his 6th home run of the year last night. It came in the 9th inning with a man aboard against Bill Bray. Otherwise, a pretty slow start for Ibanez. Average at 245. Straight away center field. Howard's going to tag up. Heisey readies for the throw. Lets it fly. And it gets away from Cabrera. Now Worth is going to advance as well.
Heads up play by Jason Worth. If you're going back to the bag, just kind of standing there expecting you're going to stay there, you don't make that play. So we made this comment several times last night. The Phillies run the bases like the Reds do. They run them aggressively. They try to take the game right to you. And Chris Heisey's throw is really not all that bad. I think it was just misplayed by Cabrera, so he'll be the one that probably gets tagged with the error.
He is.
That said, Raul Ibanez's bat looks very slow. All of a sudden.
Well, now Brian Schneider at 224 with a home run and 3 batted in.
This doesn't.
This one's way back into right field, so the 2 walks come back to burn Leake. And a 3-run home run by Brian Schneider. Only his 2nd home run of the year, and it's 3-1 Philadelphia.
Well, it's a hard way to learn a lesson from Mike Leake, but he's pitched here at this ballpark enough to know this is where you cannot walk batters. And Brian Schneider looking for a first pitch fastball, and that looks like the first straight one that Mike Leake has thrown. I mean, he starts it about middle in, and it starts up middle away and ends up way away.
Wilson Valdez with the bases empty, 1 away. Philadelphia 3-1 advantage.
Interesting note on Mike Leake in these home runs. He's allowed 8 home runs all year long. All of them. Every one of them right here at this ballpark.
Jam shot roller down to Cairo, 2 away. Really, you take a look at the ballparks where Leake is pitched on the road this year, and the overwhelming majority of his starts have been at home. You see only 5 road starts. The 2-0 record, a 1.6 ERA, but look where he's pitched. in Pittsburgh, big ballpark. Now, Houston has areas you can pitch to. You can give up a cheapie down the third base line, but everything else, you got to earn it in that ballpark.
Right.
It plays big. But look at everywhere else. Atlanta, big ballpark. Washington, big ballpark. Oakland, big ballpark. But he allows a 3-run home run to Schneider after a couple of walks here in the inning to give Philadelphia a 2-run lead.
For us, it's just to stay positive, keep playing our game the way we're doing. Aggressive running, swinging the bat early in the count, and take advantage when we have people on base. Our pitching is being absolutely great. Cueto today was, brilliant, and all the guys always keep us in the game, give us opportunity to score and win the ball game.
Geico direct quote from Orlando Cabrera. Following the ball game last night, a Reds win where Cabrera just had a sparkling night. 3 hits, knocked in a run, and played brilliantly on defense. He's knocked in the only Reds run tonight. And after jumping in front after an inning 1-0, the Reds come to bat in the second, down 2. 0-1 to Ramon Hernandez. In the air right center will be caught by Victorino, 1 away. Well, we know Mike Lee can swing the bat. 10 hits in 26 at-bats. Only Dan Herron of Arizona has a higher batting average among all National League pitchers than Mike Lee. Herron outpitched Chris Carpenter last night.
He deserved that win, didn't he?
He sure did. Boy, that was as ugly as it gets. That 9th inning. I don't know if you saw any of those replays or not. Even the Cardinals themselves were stunned. They said there's some plays in that inning that you rarely ever see in a big league game. And that was a nice way of saying that that was ugly defense. Into right field for Leake, and he has another base hit. That's his 11th.
Well, he hung in there on the pitch before. Good breaking ball, and it gave him a chance to just hit the ball that was pretty much right down the middle. Blanton was complaining to himself and anybody else in the dugout in between innings about how his pitches are kind of running all over the place. And that one did the same thing. Came right back over the center of the plate, and Leake's able to get it into right field for a base hit. And that's some hitting right there. 385.
And that's going into play.
Yeah, it'll be batting third.
0-1 to Brandon Phillips, who had a ball quite similar to the one hit right there. A little bit harder. In the leadoff spot in the first inning, it turned into a triple.
That was another one that kind of came back over the center of the plate for Blanton. He has a little bit of side-to-side movement. Not nearly as much as Mike Leake.
Another back to Blanton. He'll play the first, and that'll be the second out of the inning with Leake on to second base. Going into play tonight, the Central Division standings presented by Honda. Still the half-game lead for the Reds. It's a 4th straight day the Reds have been in front, following 7 consecutive days in second place, and they are in first place this late in a season for the first time since the final week of 1999. But of course, that year they played 162 games and had to play one more. A 1-game playoff shutout by Al Leiter and the New York Mets at Old Riverfront Stadium. And after winning that game, it propelled the Mets right into that World Series. Great numbers for Cabrera with runners in scoring position and 2 out. And he has Leake at second with 2 out. And a high hopper to third. Glove by Dobbs. Inning over. The hit a man left. We played 2 and the Phillies lead by the same number. Reds Hall of Famers will be there. The current Reds will be there. And the new class of inductees, led by Chris Sabo, Pedro Borbon, and the late Tony Mullane. So reserve your spot today. It's an unbelievable event. 513-765-7921, the number to dial. Or visit redsmuseum.org. It is a fantastic event. Top of the third inning, top of the order for the Phillies, leading 3-1. Victorino, Dobbs, and Rollins set down in order in the first by Mike Leake. If you're just tuning in, Leake walked the first 2 batters in the following inning. And 1 out later, surrendered a first pitch 3-run home run off the bat of Brian Schneider. Foul ball. Well, if you want to hang out with Chris Welsh, you're in business. You need to join the Fox Sports Ohio Lunch Bunch at foxsportsohio.com, plus a chance to win one of 10 high-def televisions. And that grand prize, have lunch with Chris J. Bruce. The Fox Sports Ohio Lunch Bunch sweepstakes, powered by Time Warner Cable. And the 2-2 delivery is up and away, ball 3. Swinging Victorino.
Now this is a real good changeup right here by Mike Leake. He just pulls a string on it. And, you know, we've said it many times before. It's not necessarily the movement on the changeup. It's not the location. It's the arm action. And Mike Leake gives you such great arm action. He sells that thing like it's a fastball every time he throws it.
Just off the outside corner, ball 1 to Greg Dobbs. He fouled out to Miguel Cairo, his first time up. Fastball swung on and missed. 2-1 to Dobbs.
Yeah, 2 slow pitches, then 1 quick fastball.
Dobbs not an everyday guy for the Phillies, never has been, but man, has he gotten some big hits for this team through the years off their bench. Swinging a foul ball out of play. Still 2-2 on Dobbs. We look at his numbers in the National League Championship Series. Only appeared in 5 games in the last 2 years, 7 at-bats, but had 3 hits. And huge hits during the regular season. That didn't miss by much.
That's the old comebacker pitch that Jeff Bradley, the Cowboy, referred to on our open. You throw that little 2-seam fastball in at the hitter's belt buckle and then have it come right back into the corner.
Fly ball in the short right field. Jay Bruce is there, 2 away.
Well, he changes speed so well. You know, one of the things you can do with Mike Leake is you watch your radar gun readings. This one at 90 miles an hour. He's topped out tonight, I believe, somewhere around 91. But most of his fastball is about 88. Hitters want consistency, and they love to have a pitcher throw the same speed out there. Even if it's 95 or 96, they'll eventually catch up to it. But if you start changing speeds, that's when you get them off their timing.
A breaking ball to Jimmy Rollins is off the inside corner, ball 1. Change up on the outer edge to even it up. We couldn't ask for more beautiful summer weather than we have had the last handful of days and what we're expecting for the next number of days here in town. That one banged into right field by Jimmy Rollins. Highs during the day right around 80 degrees, a little above that. And more of the same for the next week, and more of the same, Chris, in Chicago over the next 4 days.
If it even reaches that high in Chicago. It's always a big weekend. The Reds spent 4th of July weekend up in Chicago a couple of years ago, I think. And boy, they celebrated right. I'd like to celebrate lots of Reds victories this week up there.
Cubbies took another one on the chin yesterday. They lost to the Pirates again.
Nothing like a Cubs fan crying to make me feel patriotic.
Runner at first. And a ground ball to Phillips out of the inning. Do you cry to the song of God Bless America?
Yes. From the beginning to end. Big Ten Network.
Now, Reds fans, if a Reds player hits one of the Toyota signs out in left center or right center during our game tonight, Connie Vormbrock of Fort Wright, Kentucky, will win the beautiful new Tundra on display every night at Great American Ballpark, and register for your chance to win at an upcoming game by seeing your Cincinnati and Northern Kentucky Toyota dealer. 2-0 to Joey Votto. Reds bat bottom of the third inning, trailing Joe Blanton and the Phillies 3-0. Reds scored in the first on a triple by Phillips and a ground out by Cabrera. Brian Schneider, a 3-run home run in the Phillies' second inning. 2-1 to Votto. Votto, Gomes, and Bruce here in the inning, and now it's 3-1 to Joey, who of course comes into the game tonight having reached base safely in each of his last 36 games, a career high and the longest on-base streak in the major leagues this year, and make it 37.
The guy can flat out hit. There's just no question about that. If you get a pitch up in the plate, in the strike zone on the inside. Now, the Phillies last night, like a lot of other teams, try to pitch Joey Votto in off the plate. But Joe Blanton's pitches seem to be running into the inner third rather than on the corner and off the plate. And that's hitting zone for Joey Votto.
Of course, that was a great hit streak put together by Pete Rose back in that 1978 year. That streak right there had to do with reaching base safely for Peter Edward. Johnny Gomes doubled to left center field his first time up. Up behind the plate, and there's not much room back there, but enough for Brian Schneider. Votto's been doing a lot of that recently, popping it up. Or Johnny Gomes, I beg your pardon. First pitch swinging, fouled away. Strike one to Jay Bruce. Bruce drew a walk his first time up. Reds scored a run in that first inning and left the bases loaded. And Chris Heisey bounced into a fielder's choice to end the inning. Votto's 7 stolen bases this year. He's been thrown out 4 times. Fly ball right field. Worth backing up on it for the second out of the inning. Miguel Cairo, who was hit just above the left elbow between the elbow and the shoulder by a Blanton pitch in the first inning, will come up there with Votto at first and 2 away. Right down the middle, strike 2. Talked about earlier, Bland originally came up with the Oakland Athletics after being drafted out of the University of Kentucky and had some very good years for the A's.
Kind of interesting, you know, another famous pitcher that came out of UK is Brandon Webb. When you talk to their old coach, he'd tell you that we knew Joe Blanton was going to do something because he had a very good arm and he threw very well in college. But it was Brandon Webb that was a surprise to everybody. All of a sudden, when he got to the minor leagues, he added a few miles an hour to his fastball, and his sinker began to drop off a table, and lo and behold, he became one of the best pitchers in all of baseball. And boy, did the Diamondbacks miss him.
Now, you know what? Baseball misses him.
Yeah.
As you know, you've been around him many, many times. There is not a nicer young fellow in the world than Brandon Webb.
You're right.
Pride of Ashland, Kentucky. They thought when spring training began there was a legitimate chance that Webb would be back. Maybe not for opening day, but shortly thereafter. And they continue to wait. And gone swinging Cairo, a hit a man left, and a 3-3-1 Philly in front. Register to win the Tundra at Great American Ballpark by JTM Food Family Fun. JTM. By Geico, 15 minutes could save you 15% or more on car insurance. Visit geico.com or call 1-800-947-AUTO. And by GMC, we are professional grade. Jason Worth, first pitch swinging to begin the Philadelphia fourth inning, shoots it into right field for a leadoff hit.
Now, he did that last night. He loves to hit the ball the other way. He's got power that way, too, if you get the ball up. Big guy, strong, long arms, and he can shoot that ball to right field, or if he elevates it, can knock it right out of the ballpark.
Worth will certainly be a coveted free agent should he get that far at the end of this season. Now Raul Ibanez, he flied out to center field. His first time up. Hammered into the ground, foul, 0-2 on Ibanez. Edinson Volquez starting tonight down in Durham, North Carolina. His outing thus far, perfect. 3 innings, no hits, no walks, 5 strikeouts.
Pitching to Ryan Hannigan tonight.
Volquez scheduled to start one more time after tonight. That would be Sunday for Louisville. And then after that, his next appearance may well be at the big league level for the Reds on the next road trip, and that would mean the final weekend before the break against these Phillies. Straight away center field. Izzy's got it. One away, and back to first base goes Jason Worth. Our timeout for our AT&T trivia question for tonight's game. Who was the last player to hit an inside the park home run at Great American Ballpark? Chris, you have a memory like an elephant. You're able to recall these things.
I seem to think that it was perhaps not a Red.
Okay, well, we're playing the Phillies tonight, so a good chance a Philly?
Possibly. Let's see who's got enough speed to be able to make it around the base paths. Jason Worth does. Jimmy Rollins, certainly. Yep. The Flying Hawaiian. Shane Victorino, definitely. He might be my guess. Who else could do that?
Hardly, maybe, right?
Yeah,
maybe.
I guess so. Have to hit it in the right spot.
Yep. Breaking ball in there, a strike to Brian Schneider.
Of course, that's if we're talking about this contemporary Phillies. We may be going back a ways. Although not all that far. I mean, you know, inside the park home runs happen to a team maybe once a year.
Well, much to my surprise, as that just missed off the inside corner. There have only been 2 inside the park home runs hit since the opening of Great American Ballpark in 2003.
That's amazing.
Yep. And both of them have been by visiting players. Looked in the right field, a base hit by Schneider. Well, he looks like King Kong tonight against Lee.
He does. He had a fastball the first time up. That last pitch was a changeup that he jumped on. He's waiting very nicely on it. Veteran catcher. That pitch is a good pitch, too. A changeup, just about knee high, about 3 inches outside.
Well, 2 on, 1 out. Philadelphia already with a 2-run lead, and here comes Wilson Valdez, a second baseman and number 8 place hitter. Field hit pretty well, and that is a 3-run home run by Wilson Valdez.
Wow.
The number 7-hole hitter with a 3-run homer. The number 8-hole hitter with a 3-run homer. And it is 6-1 Philadelphia. Goodness gracious.
Yeah, the 2 guys in this lineup that you probably worry about the least when you're scouting out the Phillies. That's just a breaking ball that didn't. And you get enough of it in this yard, I mean on a sweet spot, you don't have to pound it. You just have to hit it in the square of the sweet spot. And Valdez does that. Well, I mean, Brian Schneider, yeah, good, solid major league player, good catcher, yes. But when you're scouting the Phillies, you're talking about worrying about guys like Rollins and Victorino and Ryan Howard and Utley when he's healthy. And you don't think that Wilson Valdez and Brian Schneider are the guys that are responsible for the 6 runs on the board.
Valdez only his 3rd home run. For Schneider, he hit just his 2nd home run.
You know, the ironic thing is if the Phillies come in here completely healthy, neither of those guys are in the ballgame.
Yep. 6 runs already allowed in this game, the most surrendered by Mike Leake in his major league career in a game. course, we'll get into the whole debate about, you know, his Leak maybe working off a little rust. The Reds gave him 8 days in between starts. Since pitching back in Oakland on the 21st of this month, there's a swing and a miss by Blanton for the 3rd out of the inning. That's one of those deals where you're darned if you do and you're darned if you don't. The Reds are obviously trying to keep an eye on Leak and, you know, where he's going to be innings-wise. That's been much talked about, much publicized compared to what he threw in college last year, what that number will be from an inning standpoint this year. And really for the first time all year long. I mean, every now and again this season it's worked out where he's had an extra day, but that's because of an off day.
Well, I'm not so sure why it makes such a big deal, really. I'll give you 2 examples. Back in the day, Tom, when you were the 5th starter in the rotation, and I'm not saying that Mike Leake doesn't deserve to be better than the 5th starter, but he's the 5th starter, you would be the guy that would get leaped over. You would lose your spot on an off day, a rain out, and so on. So oftentimes, you wouldn't get 30 starts a year. You may only have 20, 24 starts a year as that 5th starter because of that situation with off days. And the other thing is that last year, he didn't pitch in a 5-man rotation at Arizona State. He pitched once a week. He was their Friday night pitcher. So, you know, it's what you get used to. Yes, you want to get a routine, and when you get an extra day, it throws you off that routine a little bit. But he's not going to make the excuse tonight and tell you, I gave up a home run to Wilson Valdez because I was out of a routine.
Well, let me ask you this, and because you've been down this road. I mean, you have been in this spot where you've been that number 5 guy, been passed over and that kind of thing. And certainly there's no debate Mike Leake would never, ever use it as an excuse. That's just not what he's all about. 1-1 on Dobbs. But, you know, if you've heard it once, you have heard it literally a million times if you hang around baseball long enough, where you'll hear players talk about being creatures of habit. And you do like being in a routine. You do like knowing what your role is. You do like knowing when you're a pitcher especially, or for that matter, a position player. You like knowing you're going to be out there every 5 days. You prepare yourself that way and get into that routine. So, I mean, when you do get not only, you know, 1 extra day, but when you get 3 extra days, you know, can you lose a little bit of your sharpness?
Yes, you can. I don't think there's any question about that. 1 extra day, maybe not as big a deal. But you get extra days, and the problem with a sinker ball pitcher like Mike Leake is sometimes you come out feeling too strong, and your ball doesn't sink right. But I'm not so sure that that's the case with Leake tonight. That first pitch he threw to Brian Snyder, yes, it was a fastball, but he left that out over the plate. The one that Valdez hit, I think, was a breaking ball, which he just spun it up there. Yeah, I think you have to remember that the kid's only 22, and we're used to seeing him pitch so well that we hold him to higher standards than maybe we should.
Popped up to Cabrera. That'll end the inning. 3 more runs for the Phillies. Long way to go in this one. Reds down 6-1 after 3.5. Now the Reds trailing by 5 come to bat here in the bottom of the 4th inning against Joe Blanton. It'll be the latter third in the order. Heisey, Hernandez, and Lee. A couple of 3-run home runs. That one popped up into short left field to Ibanez by Chris Heisey. 1 away.
Boy, did he just miss that one.
As always, you can visit the official online shop of the Reds at Reds.com. Unbelievable gear available right now. And get it straight from the source. Shop the Reds.com official store today. Hernandez, a batter. He flied out to center his first time up. Joe Blanton, a lot like the starter we saw here last night, Kyle Kendrick, in terms of living right when he faces the Reds. Kendrick went into the game last night with a 3-0 record and an ERA of over 6.5. Joe Blanton has pitched in 1 game in this ballpark. He gave up 5 runs in 5 innings and won the game.
Well, he's been the beneficiary of a lot of big offensive nights this year for the Phillies. And he's won back-to-back starts now. After his previous 4 starts, he went 0-3 and earned run average up around 10. So he's been really up and down this year for the Phillies. They hope, like you said earlier, Tom, and again last night, that he does what he has done on the back of his baseball card throughout his career, which is pitch much better in the second half.
Ryan Howard to the glove side, and that's out number 2 in the inning.
Like, it wasn't too long ago. There was a lot of noise made around this area, mainly by a sports columnist for the Inquirer that was urging the Reds to trade Homer Bailey and Jay Bruce for Joe Blanton a few years ago, if you remember that. That created a lot of stir in the offseason. As it turned out, the Phillies ended up with Blanton and not the Reds.
Two down now for Mike Leake, who had a single his first time up. A 2-hopper to the second baseman, and a 1-2-3 inning, the first of the night for Joe Blanton. End of 4, 6-1 Philadelphia. So 3, 4, and 5 in the Philadelphia batting order coming up. If you're just joining us and you're wondering about number 3 in the batting order, you're seeing Jimmy Rollins. Well, Chase Utley went on the disabled list before the game tonight, injuring his thumb last night. 1 pitch and 1 out on the ground out to Phillips for Mike Leake. Talked about this Phillies team. I mean, there's some very important pieces to this club that have led them to the World Series the last couple of years. Utley, Polanco just came back. Ryan Madsen, J.A. Happ had an outstanding rookie run last year. Ruiz, their regular catcher. Durbin, a big part of their bullpen. And of course, Chase Utley. I mean, he has been right in the middle of this high-powered offense since the day he came out of UCLA and made it to the big leagues. Now Ryan Howard.
And that's why you say, Tom, you know, you never really pick the year in which you're going to contend. The year sometimes picks you. Even when you're a thunderous offensive team like the Phillies. You get all those injuries, and you better have some guys that can step in for a while until you get your guys back from the disabled list.
In the air, left field. And 2 away in the inning. Now Jason Worth. 2 outs and nobody on. There's plenty of time to get back in this one. Fastball up and away. 1-2 to Worth. He began the 4th inning rally with a base hit into right field. And 3 batters later scored along with Brian Schneider on a 3-run home run from Valdez. And there's strike 3 called. A very impressive hit. 1, 2, 3 through the heart of the order. And now it's time for the Fifth Third Bank hardest workers in the game. Brandon Phillips, top of the order. We'll see if the Reds can start to get back in this thing. Trailing trailing by 5, but we're only in the bottom of the 5th inning. Brandon had a triple to right field, leading off the bottom of the 1st inning, and scored on a ground out by Orlando Cabrera. Cardinals and Diamondbacks just underway in St. Louis. We'll keep you up to speed on that one. But Cubbies, meanwhile, are scoreless in the 2nd inning against the Pirates. And we will see the Chicago Cubs for the first of 4 the day after tomorrow. All-day games at Wrigley Field. Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, of course, by a very special telecast on the 4th of July, right here on Fox Sports Ohio. And, of course, that'll be brought to you by Marathon. Phillips gone swinging. He's saying that that ball hit the dirt on the foul tip, and C.B. Buckner not buying it. Of course, that July the 4th telecast presented by Marathon will be on the American Forces Network. We'll have a live conversation with a soldier serving in Afghanistan. Very limited commercials in order to tell you stories of the Reds community and patriotic involvement, including Aaron Zace's, Aaron Harang's program, providing tickets to families of servicemen abroad and their families. And we cannot wait for that. Orlando Cabrera 0 for 2, knocked in the Reds' only run with a ground out, plating Phillips in the 1st inning. Landis only allowed 2 hits since the 1st.
Well, he is using his changeup masterfully tonight. We saw Johnny Cueto successful with it last night. Joe Blanton took a page out of Cueto's book this evening, and he's really mixing it up.
Soft liner to the 2nd baseman Valdez, and there are 2 gone. The answer to our AT&T trivia question: the last player to hit an inside the park home run here at Great American Ballpark.
It was so fast he got around a base that we couldn't even get his name up there. There it is. Chase Utley. How about that? September 2005. I'm trying to remember that game. I have to look it up.
Off Randy Kiesler in the 5th inning. We can go back to the archives and dig up that video.
I hardly remember Randy Kiesler, much less that particular game.
2-1 to Votto. Three and 1 to Joey Votto, and it's back to the 2nd baseman again. And back-to-back perfect innings. 9 in a row retired. Now by Joe Blanton, and the 5-6-1 Phillies lead it.
A lot of pressure. On to the 6th inning we go here on Fox Sports Ohio. Jim Day back with you. We're in the press box sitting next to Hall of Famer Hal McCoy, whose fingertips are on fire right now as he chats with all the Reds fans on FoxSportsOhio.com. Shoot Hal a question. He would love to hear from you. Time now, though, for tonight's Meyer text poll question. 4th of July, of course, this weekend. We want to know, what's your favorite 4th of July activity? Text 1 if it's the barbecue, as Ibanez grounds to Joey Votto. 2 for fireworks. 3, hitting the beach. Or 4 for a pool party. Text 1, 2, 3, or 4 to 37664. Standard text message rates apply. Well, the results coming up. Hal, you have a favorite 4th of July activity?
Coming to the ballpark. That's what I usually do, but maybe that's not my favorite. Barbecuing outside is my favorite.
All right. I'm going to go with the beach, even though I would scare women and children. But if there's a beach near, I'm there. Boys.
Swing and a miss with one away to Brian Schneider, who hit the 3-run home run to give Philadelphia the lead against Leake back in the 2nd inning. Of course, the Reds will be on the road the 4th of July weekend. Chris, you'll be out on the beach.
I will be?
Well, I mean, you always are. We go to Chicago. You're hanging out.
You know, they've got quite a fireworks celebration on Saturday night out on the Navy Pier.
Was that Saturday night this year?
I believe so. Or maybe it's I'm hoping it's Saturday night because we won't see it on Sunday night.
Well,
I'll be on my way to New York with the ball club. You'll be hanging out in Chicago. Oh, you'll be on your way to New York.
Mm-hmm. A neck-and-neck race, barbecue and fireworks.
Heads up. A lot of people around the Midwest, they don't get that beach part.
No. No. Back into center field, a 3-hit game for Brian Schneider.
It's almost like Ramon Hernandez is telling Schneider what's coming. And that's how good he looks at the plate tonight. Of course, it's not happening. Mike Leake takes a look over Snyder saying, maybe it is happening. You look awfully good against me. I mean, even the foul ball was hit hard.
Now Valdez along with Schneider, they've done the major damage tonight for Philadelphia. A 3-run home run by Bryant in the 2nd inning, a 3-run shot by Wilson in the 4th. High tapper to Cairo. There's one. And that's a double play to end the inning. Reds come to bat. Last of the 6th with work to do. for the Coors Light Freeze can. Just beyond the reach of Jason Worth, a 3-base hit. Sliding in safely for Brandon Phillips. Our Coors Light Freeze can brought to you by Frost Brewed Coors Light. All right, 4, 5, and 6 for the Reds in their batting order here in the bottom of the 6th inning. Brandon and the Reds trailing the Phillies 6-1. Gomes fouled out to the catcher, his only time up.
That's pretty good right there. You know, you rank a pitcher sometimes success-wise, how well they get ahead of hitters. But 18 and 22 for Blanton. He's coming right after the Reds. That's after he struggled in the first inning. He went all the way down the number 7 spot before he got through that first inning.
And now he's retired 9 in a row. Make it 10. And a routine ground ball to Valdez.
Hey, Reds fans, for great food with family and friends this summer, think JTM. Food, family, fun, JTM.
One out, nobody on for Jay Bruce. He walked in the first inning, flying out to right in the third. 10 in a row set down by Blanton. And another first pitch strike. Now 19 out of 23. Edinson Volquez, 71 pitches for Louisville in Durham. Through 5 innings, he's allowed 1 hit, a solo home run. He's walked 1 and punched out 6. News keeps getting better and better.
Yes, it does.
Soft liner caught for the second out of the inning. 11 in a row retired by Blanton. Oh, my, what a play by Ibanez.
A circus catch out there by Ibanez. Boy, was he lucky that dog ball didn't scoot by him. In fact, the way Victorino was coming over from center field, he was almost planning on that ball skipping by Ibanez. Kind of a humpback line drive. Hit that hard. It kind of sinks in front of him, and he throws his glove up there, and guess what? In your other hand, you got a gold watch.
Well, we talk about it all the time. When you fall behind, you don't have to get them all back at one time. When you hammer one in the seats here and you get within 3, start pecking away. Well, you need hits, you need runs. A 2-out single by Cairo, and it's 1 ball and 1 strike to Heisey.
Heisey's had a couple of pretty good swings. Now, he hasn't had great contact. The last ball that he hit against him in the 4th inning hit straight up the chute. Well, boy, it was way up there. Barely missed it.
Good eye there on the pitch down and away.
And he did it on a fastball, too. That's maybe why Blanton is keeping that slider on him.
Heisey ended the first inning with the bases loaded, hitting a hard ground ball, but right at Jimmy Rollins. Fooled badly there. Daniel Ray Herrera up and throwing, and apparently by now ready in the Reds bullpen. 3-2 to Heisey. And there's a walk. So a 2-out single followed by a bases on balls by Blanton to Heisey. And here comes Ramon Hernandez. Well, you'd love to get to the pitcher's spot in this inning, needless to say.
Yeah, you would. You know, you don't necessarily have to get all 5 or 6 of them back at one time. You can get 2 here and a couple later on. But the key is try to run that pitch count up also against Joe Blanton. Get him out of there and get into that Philly bullpen. They've got so many guys that are injured that are in that bullpen that that's one of their weaknesses right now. Big first inning, a very quick and efficient 4th inning. Everything else just about right on average.
Ramon Hernandez digging in. He's fly to center and bounced out to Ryan Howard. Scotty Rowland comes out of the Reds dugout with a helmet on and bat in hand. Reds would love to have him step up there here in the bottom of the 6th inning with a chance to do some damage. But first things first. A 1-0 count to Hernandez with 2 on and 2 out. And it's 2-0. Hit hard into left center field. Victorino will not get it. And this will bring in a couple of runs. Cairo scores. Heisey scores. And a 2-run double by Hernandez to make it a 3-run game.
Now the 2-out lightning, the Reds are happening one more time. This ball comes back over the plate. A fastball looks like for Ramon Hernandez. And he beats a little bit of a defensive shift as he hits at the left center field. Boy, Victorino gets that ball back in right now, but he gets to second base. Hernandez does. The Reds score a couple of runs, and now they're only down by 3.
Well, it was Scott Rowland standing in the on-deck circle, and now Mike Leake is going to bat. Well, a very curious decision here, certainly by Dusty Baker. You've got a pitcher on the ropes right now in Joe Blanton, and you're letting Leake come up there and bat. Granted, there are 2 outs. It didn't have to be Rowland, but you've got some other people to choose from down there. This will certainly be an interesting question and answer following the game, win or lose, after this one is over. I mean, you're down to your final 10 outs of this game, and you're down by 3.
And you've got a pitcher warmed up in the bullpen, presumably to come in and pitch the top of the next inning.
You only used 1 reliever last night, Bill Bray. And here's a fly ball into left center field. Well, you certainly go to the 7th scratching your head a little bit. The Reds do get 2, and they're within 3. AT&T. Find out what's possible with the nation's fastest 3G network. AT&T Rethink Possible. By your Cincinnati, Northern Kentucky Honda dealers. Visit mycincinnatihondadealer.com. By Granger, with over 900,000 products for the ones who get it done. And by the Basement Guys. Enter to win the free basement giveaway from the Basement Guys. To enter, go to thebasementguys.com. Perhaps adding an even more perplexing twist to the plot after allowing Mike Leake, yes, who is a very, very good hitter. There's no debating that. But after allowing Leake to bat with a man aboard down by 3 in the 6th inning, Leake is out of the game in favor of reliever Daniel Ray Herrera. Joe Bland will stay in the game and bat for Philadelphia. He's quickly behind Herrera, 0-2. I mean, you look up and down, unless there are guys that are unavailable off that Reds bench that we are unaware of. You have 5 players, and probably narrow it down to 4 if you take the backup catcher out of the mix and Corky Miller. You have 4 position players to choose from there, especially when you're not making a pitching change. Lance Nix from the left side, perhaps saving him later in a game with all the right-handers down in that Philadelphia bullpen. But chances are, if Nix is set up as a pinch hitter late, we're going to see J.C. Romero from the left side.
Right.
The Phillies were not going to take Blanton out of the game there. They had nobody up in their bullpen. So you had Drew Stubbs, Paul Giannis, Scott Rowland, and even Mike Owings for that matter.
I think, Tom, is one of those situations where the manager, because you know the Phillies are not going to make a pitching change, you pick the matchup that you want in that situation. And we've seen Dusty do it before. I mean, sometimes he manages with a gut feel. So I just had a good feeling about it.
Daniel Ray Herrera, meanwhile, trying to right the ship. Falling behind Shane Victorino, 3 balls and a strike after fanning the opposing pitcher to begin the inning, and he has walked Victorino.
Well, he's got to feel a little internal pressure because he reads the newspapers and sees what's going on. Bill Bray's called up from the minor leagues. They've got 3 left-handers now on this bullpen staff. First time they've had that all year long. And you've got, either sooner or later, Aroldis Chapman coming up, who is now a left-hander pitching in relief down in the minor leagues. So eventually one left-hander is going to have to go. And it's not Arthur Rhodes.
Well, the Reds have to make a roster move day after tomorrow. And that won't have anything to do with Chapman.
You're right. And it will probably be a reliever because they've got 8 relievers down there now. They went down to get Bray when they sent down Sam LeCure.
Juan Castro will bat for Greg Dobbs. Castro unquestionably will stay in the game to play third base defensively. A former Red and one of the more likable players that has ever put on a major league uniform.
One of the better defenders that have ever put on a baseball uniform.
I tell you, I mean, I'm not the sharpest tool in the shed. And I'm sure there's a real good chance I'm missing something, but I'm just still having a hard time understanding what took place there at the end of the last inning. Not saying that's the difference between winning and losing in this game right now, because it's not. But, boy, it's hard to figure.
It's worth a question.
It is hard to figure. Doesn't make anybody right, doesn't make anybody wrong. 2-0. And now 3-0. Jimmy Rollins and then Ryan Howard coming up after Juan Castro. Back-to-back walks to Victorino and the pinch hitter Castro, and here comes Brian Price. Right-hander Jordan Smith getting ready in the bullpen. Herrera has walked back-to-back batters after striking out the pitcher to begin the inning.
Yeah, the one thing that this Philly team does to you, the top guys in their lineup, I mean the top 2 or 3 hitters in the lineup, Victorino and Rollins are both switch hitters. Just so happens that this year Rollins is, batting average-wise, way better right-handed than he is left-handed. He does not get anywhere near the number of at-bats from the right side. But he's hitting .357 from over there.
Ball 1.
I'll tell you what, though. Without putting the fox tracks on him, it looks like C.B. Buckner's strike zone has all of a sudden incredibly shrunk. There have been some pitches that have been pretty good that have been gone the other way.
On Jimmy Rollins with 2 on and nobody out. And there's a strike. Mike Lee goes 6 innings tonight. Gives up 7 hits, 6 runs, all earned. The most he's allowed in a game this year. He walked a couple of batters and struck out 4. Straight away center field. Heisey at the track for the second out. Tagging and moving second and third is Victorino. And now it's Ryan Howard. And I'm sure Dusty's down there mulling over what to do here. I mean, Herrera obviously is last year was very good against left-handers. That has not held true this year. Do you let him face Howard? Or do you walk him and then bring in Smith to face right-handed batting Jason Worth?
Now, this is why Daniel Ray Herrera is on this ball club. I think you let him. I don't think there's a question about it right here. In fact, it was in his major league debut. When he first came to the major leagues, Daniel Ray Herrera faced Howard in a bases-loaded situation, if I'm not mistaken.
Yep.
And whiffed him to get out of the inning.
Swing and a miss there. 1-1 to Ryan Howard. Critical moment in this game. The Reds got 2 in the bottom of the 6th inning to make it a 3-run game. Herrera's walked a couple of batters here in the 7th. And faces the big slugger Ryan Howard, and now a 2-1 count. Fooled him again away. 2-2.
They're staying away from Howard so much so that those pitchers are balls, at least according to our Fox tracks. Howard chased 2 of them, and that's why we've got a 2-2 count.
Strike 3 caught, and Herrera takes care of Ryan Howard. Good job, Daniel Ray Herrera. After a couple of walks, retires Rollins and Howard. Likely getting out of the inning with a double play ball. Now John Morrell, hot dog play of the game. Reds come to bat. Top of the order against Joe Blanton. We're in the bottom of the 7th inning, and the Reds are down by 3. Brandon 1 of 3, tripled to lead off the 1st inning and scored on the ground out by Cabrera. He has since bounced to the mound and struck out. And it's into center field. A base hit for Phillips to begin the inning.
Based on what the Reds did last inning, certainly there'll be some activity in the bullpen now.
Yeah, there's action down there before this inning began. They have a left-hander and a right-hander getting warmed up. We'll tell you who they are in a moment. The right-hander is Jose Contreras. And the left-hander is J.C. Romero. Contreras served as their closer when Brad Lidge was on the disabled list. It's fouled out of play by Orlando Cabrera. Cabrera 0 for 3. Knocked in a run in the 1st inning. Juan Castro, as we speculated, remains in a game for Greg Dobbs after batting for him in the top of the inning. Off out of play, and it's 0-2 on Cabrera. The Reds have Bill Bray loosening in their bullpen. And Arthur Rhodes just stood up. Grabbed a baseball, begins to loosen up that left wing. Slow roller. There's one. It's a double play. So here's Joe Blanton wiping his brow in the 7th inning, where he has pitched a very, very good game tonight. He's allowed 3 runs on just 7 hits. Joey Votto fouls it away, and pitch number 101 on the night for Blanton. This figures to be his final inning. had some problems in that bullpen, especially health problems in that bullpen for Philadelphia. Well, with 6 outs to go, Rich Doobie and Charlie Manuel and company feel pretty good about the 2 or 3 guys they might use down there this late in the game. Boy, it's a rested bullpen. They have thrown the fewest number of innings among all teams in the National League. And this will end the inning. We go to the 8th, 6-3 Philadelphia. Spotlight for the ones who get it done, and for the Phillies tonight, that has been Brian Schneider.
Boy, he's just looked like he has known what is coming up to the plate every time he goes up there, whether it's a home run, a single. One came on a fastball, one came on a changeup. There's a fastball again, rifled up the middle. 3 for 3 with a 3-run bomb. Brian Schneider, backup catcher, having a pretty good night tonight.
Schneider, limited playing time, has had only 13 hits the entire year. But 3 of them tonight.
Well, back-to-back nights for this young left-hander. Fresh off the disabled list, fresh back from Tommy John surgery, 16 months or so of rehab with all the injuries that he has sustained over the last couple of years. Happy to see him back, but he pitched in 1 game last night. And 2/3 of the way through the inning, he was looking good before he gave up a 2-run home run. You read anything into this, Bray, right after Herrera? Like an audition of left-handers, perhaps, that, you know, they haven't really decided who they're going to keep. I mean, it could be a left-hander moved come Thursday when the Reds need a pitcher, and they're going to move somebody out of the bullpen. They've got 3 lefties for the first time all year. If it was spring training, you would easily say, this looks like a good old-fashioned pitch-off.
Exactly. Two and one on Jason Worth. And there's a strike. I mean, I'm sure Bray had to be very nervous last night. I mean, it doesn't matter if you pitched in 100 games in the big leagues. If it's been, you know, nearly 2 full years since you've done it in between turns,
right?
You got to be nervous, right?
Absolutely.
Stung by Worth, but right at Heisey. 1 away. Well, now's your chance to enter to win a Fox Sports Ohio Meijer prize pack. Text the word Meijer, M-E-I-J-E-R, to 37664 now to be entered. Good luck. And take a peek as well at that Fox Sports Ohio lunch bunch. 0-1 to Ibanez. Cardinals a pair of runs in the bottom of the third inning against Dontrell Willis, and a 2-0 lead on a 2-run home run by Albert Pujols. For Albert, number 17. One and one to Ibanez, and a tapper to the right side. Ibanez, a guy who homered off Bray last night. He takes care of him tonight. 2 away for Billy Bray. Still plenty of daylight left. Here we are, nearly 5 minutes after 9 o'clock Eastern Time. But the Reds, unfortunately, starting to run out of outs. They have 6 to play with, down 3. Strike 1 to Schneider. The 3-hit game, as we saw a moment ago, including a big 3-run home run to give Philadelphia the lead. Mike Leake, 6 innings, 7 hits, 6 runs. Daniel Ray Herrera, an inning, 2 strikeouts, 2 walks, no runs. And now Bray trying to make it a perfect 8th inning. On Brian Schneider, and he gets underneath this one, and he'll be retired for the first time tonight. So Bill Bray, very impressive. A 1-2-3 8th inning. Bottom of the 8th coming up. Reds are down 6-3. Doing more on defense, play of the game. How about that scoop by Ibanez? Pretty nice. And look who's still on the mound as we begin the 8th inning for Philadelphia. Joe Blanton. Only allowed 3 runs in 7 innings tonight.
And he's been pretty efficient. This is pitch number 104.
Johnny Gomes to lead it off. 0-1. Gomes, Bruce, Cairo. And the Reds are hoping for more than that. Down by 3 here in the bottom of the 8th inning. This may be the final batter Blanton faces, depending on what happens. You have left-handed batting Jay Bruce next. You had J.C. Romero in the bullpen, so they could begin to mix and match if they so choose in the 8th. 1-1 to Gomes. And now 1-2. And there's that duel we mentioned earlier. Contreras, a right-hander, Romero, the left-hander. You might see Romero for Bruce, Contreras for Cairo, or anybody else off the Reds bench. Two to Johnny Gomes, trying to start an 8th inning rally. And now the count is full. Landis only walked 2 batters. One of those came in the first inning when he also hit a batter. And now the payoff pitch to Johnny. In the hole at short. Close play, but out is a call to first. Gomes busting it up the line, but just short. Great party atmosphere aboard the Cincinnati Bell Riverboat deck here at Great American Ballpark, and you can see all the action and enjoy a perfect party night from it. Make your plans today by calling the Reds Group Sales Department at 513-765-7600. With Gomes retired, they'll leave Blanton to face Bruce, and he makes it easy. 2 away in the inning. Cairo, he had a 2-out single. The Reds began a 2-out rally in the 6th inning off Blanton. Cairo singled, Heisey walked, and then both scored on a double to left center field by Ramon Hernandez. Cairo. And a full count. And a 2-out single by Cairo. Will it start another Reds rally as it did in the 6th? Comes Charlie Manuel. 117 pitches on the night for Joe Blanton. Charlie looks good. He's lost a lot of weight.
He does. Of course, going to the playoffs or going to the World Series the last couple of years doesn't hurt so much either. Makes the off seasons a lot more enjoyable.
So it will be Jose Contreras replacing Blanton, who pitched an excellent ball game here tonight. Baseball All-Star Game. Coverage begins Tuesday, July the 13th from Anaheim, California at 8 p.m. Eastern, only on Fox. 1 on, 2 out. Reds down 3 in the 8th, and now on the pitch, Jose Contreras.
Now, he was with Colorado last year, previous to that with the Chicago White Sox for 5 years, and of course originally signed with the New York Yankees after defecting from Cuba. Jose Contreras, he with a heavy fastball and a pretty good splitter. 28 games now for Contreras. 23 innings overall, but 29 strikeouts. He comes in here just 1 out away from getting out of this inning.
Lance Nix will bat for Chris Heisey, with Cairo at first and 2 out in the inning. And a pop-up on the very first pitch, and this will end it in the 8th. We go to the 9th, 6-3 game. Behind home plate, it's covered, it's outdoor. That can host your group of 30 to 48. Reserve your game date today by calling the Reds Group Sales Department, 765-7600. Big group enjoying it tonight. Couple of changes for the Reds as we're set to begin the 9th inning with the Phillies in front 6-3. Lance Nix, who popped up a moment ago, remains in the game to play center field. And taking over on the mound is right-hander Jordan Smith.
Oh, you see he's got 1 save, and we don't have it up there, but I can tell you he's got 1 save because he earned it in a 10-inning 6-4 win in Oakland. His first major league save after saving a handful of games down in AA this year. Jordan Smith plucked right out of the AA league into the big leagues, and a converted starter is doing a pretty good job in the bullpen so far for the Reds, sporting an earned run average down around 1.3.
And not a single walk.
Gotta like that. I mean, he pounds the bottom of the strike zone.
Reds will get a look at Brad Lidge in the bottom of the 9th inning. Wilson Valdez leads it off, shows bunt, takes up and in for ball 1.
Same guy that's a strike. I think they called it on the attempted bunt right there. They checked down to first base. Here's the same guy that just hit a home run last time up, or 2 times ago. Try to lay a bunt down.
And then he hits one a country mile, but foul.
Maybe I like him better as a butter.
Smith has been impressive indeed. A man born and raised in Utah. That's a good piece of hitting. Just punched into right field. Valdez will get a lot of playing time over the next couple of weeks. With the injuries to Utley and Polanco both going on the disabled list prior to the game tonight. Ross Glode will come up to bat now for Contreras, who threw one pitch to get the final out in the 8th inning. Glode 3 pinch hit home runs this season. Not much for the batting average, but 3 long ones off the bench. Broken bat roller. That is a fair ball. Votto thought about it and takes the out right behind him. Valdez on to second, 1 out of the inning.
Boy, you like the aggressive attitude anyway. I mean, he almost made something out of nothing right there, Joey Votto. You come down and barehand that ball. First you take a look. He's checking it out on the big scoreboard here at the ballpark right now anyhow. I mean, you'll never make the advanced play unless you think about it right from the get-go. That's what you like about Votto.
Now Shane Victorino digging in with a runner at second base and 1 out. Well, Smith has got to find a way to slam the door and leave that run out there at second base in this inning. They're already down 3. And Brad Lidge will come on to pitch in the bottom of the 9th inning. 2-0. Lidge ready. In the Philly pen. 3-0 to Victorino. Reds pitching with 4 walks in the game. And the 2 that really hurt Mike Leake is only 2 on the entire night. Came back to back to begin the 2nd inning. There's a strike by Smith. After a 1-2-3 first for Leake, he walked Howard and Jason Worth, got an out, and then surrendered the 3-run home run to put the Phillies in front, a lead which they have not relinquished yet. And here's ball 4 to Victorino, bringing Juan Castro to the plate. Aaron Harang and Roy Halladay in a series finale at 12:35 tomorrow afternoon. No television tomorrow. We will have it for you on the Reds radio network. And then every game on the upcoming road trip, all 11 games. 4 in Chicago, 3 in New York against the Mets, 4 in Philly. We'll have for you right here on Fox Sports Ohio. Strike 1 to Castro. Oh, 2. Two on, 1 out. Nothing at 2 on Castro, and Jordan delivers. And again, it's fouled back out of play. You're looking ahead of the Reds' bottom half of the ninth inning. It'll be 8-9-1 in their batting order. And here's strike 3 to Castro. One more out to go for Jordan Smith.
Well, he's got a lot of downward movement on most of his pitches, and you can see the way right-handers jump out of the way. It also moves inside. But that is some serious sink at 94. Kind of reminds me of the way that Danny Graves used to throw the ball up there and get that kind of power sinker going.
Two on, two out, and here comes Rollins. 1 for 4 on the night. And it's low and in, ball 1 to Jimmy Rollins, who turns around again to bat from the left side. One and one. Talked about 8-9-1 in the bottom of the ninth inning. It'll be Ramon Hernandez, a pinch hitter for Jordan Smith. And then back to Brandon Phillips. Tardy on a fastball as Rollins and drops it out of play. 1-2.
Hey, don't forget, after every Reds game, Fox Sports Ohio breaks down the game and talks to the players and coaches on Reds Live. Brought to you by King's Honda in the King's Honda Auto Mall. We'll rename it the King's Honda Auto Mall or the King's Auto Mall. Visit KingsHondaUSA.com. Literary license.
1-2 to Rollins. Up and in. Low and away, 3-2. So now the runners will get started. Valdez at second base, taking a look around. The speedy Victorino at first. Smith the pause, and here it is. He struck him out. Another impressive inning for Jordan Smith. Bottom of the ninth. Lidge coming on. The Reds are down by 3. PerformanceHondaStore.com will put a smile on your face. Every customer, every vehicle, every day. Celebrate 140 years of exciting Reds baseball with the ultimate must-own item for every Reds fan. Reds Memories, the greatest moment in Cincinnati Reds history, now available on DVD from MLB Productions. Great stuff. Pick it up at Reds.com/shop. 33-year-old right-hander, a native of Colorado, is Brad Lidge. 2 years ago, one of the most spectacular years in the history of baseball. 41 of 41 in save chances during the regular year, and tack on 6 more in the postseason. But last year, boy, did he struggle. An 0-8 record, did have 31 saves, but an earned run average up over 7. He has spent time on the disabled list in each of the last 2 years. He has a 3-run lead as we open the ninth, ball 1 down low.
Well, Brad Lidge had arm surgery, and they're hoping that the surgery corrected whatever problems he had last year.
Actually tack on 7 more that year in the postseason for Lidge. 2-0. As we know, he can be at times extraordinarily wild.
Well, you're not kidding about that, but he can also strike you out too. He's the kind of pitcher that can walk the bases loaded and then strike you out on 9 pitches. He's got that kind of electric stuff.
And there's strike.
Or he used to anyway. I'm not so certain. I haven't seen him pitch yet this year, Tom, not even on television, so I can't tell you in the 11 innings that he has been in a ball game. He saved 5 of 6. But he's given up 10 hits. That's not a lot. That's not a lot like him.
2-2. Lidge went to Cherry Creek High School in Colorado and then pitched collegiately at the University of Notre Dame. Slow bouncer to Rollins. And that's the way we begin the bottom of the 9th inning. Only 2 innings have the Reds made any noise. The first, when they scored a run, loaded the bases, but could do no further damage. Then a 2-out rally, a single, a walk, a 2-run double by Hernandez. All quiet, literally, since that hit. Only 1 single by Brandon Phillips. Here's Drew Stubbs batting for the pitcher Jordan Smith. Strike 1.
It's amazing how the game started and now is so different than the way it started. Mike Leake went out there, retired the Phillies on 12 pitches, looked like he was going to dominate all night long. Joe Blanton goes out, struggles mightily in the first inning, goes all the way down to the 7th hitter before he's finally able to get out of the inning. Just gave up 1 run. That's a key for him. But boy, from then on, it seemed like it turned around.
Lidge 5 of 6 in save chances this year. Was activated off the disabled list for a 2nd time on May the 31st. He had right elbow surgery during the offseason, and then some more inflammation a month into the year. And he has struck out Drew Stubbs on 4 pitches. And the Reds are down to their final out.
God, he's got a great splitter and he's got a great slider. And from pitch to pitch, you're not really sure what that is unless you can slow it down. That's a slider because we can see the spin. Big, long arm action in his prime, getting that ball up there in the upper 90s.
Brandon Phillips, 2 out of 4 in the game tonight. Tripled and scored in the first inning. Trying to find a way are the Reds at this point now to keep it alive and try to get Votto to the plate here in the 9th. 2-0 to Phillips. 3-1. Comes Orlando Cabrera. We mentioned you're trying to get this thing at the very minimum. One more batter get up there to the plate after Cabrera and bring that tying run to the plate. That would be in the form of Joey Votto if Cabrera can find a way to reach. Cabrera, and there's a strike to even the count. Votto hoping to get up there here in the ninth. 1-1 to Cabrera. And it's fouled over the screen, out of play. So Lidge ahead now on the red shortstop with a ball and 2 strikes. Two to Cabrera. He hits up and in. Phillips takes second base. And Schneider will come out and visit with Brad Lidge.
Now the comforting thing for the Phillies right here is that even if Cabrera gets his pitch and drives it on out of here, the Phillies will remain up by 1. So I'm sure that's probably what Brian Snyder has told him, maybe in different words, but saying, hey, don't walk this guy. Because then we do have problems with Joey Votto on deck. He would represent the tying run.
And there's a liner that'll fall in front of the left fielder Ibanez. Phillips to third, and Votto will indeed get that chance here tonight.
I'm not so sure that Brad Lidge is aware of how much heroics the Reds have put on their opposition this season. But Charlie Manuel knows, the advanced scouts know, this is a team that never dies. And down to their last strike right there, Orlando Cabrera breathes new life into the Reds, and they bring up the Reds' left-handed slugger, who represents now the tying run.
Well, the Reds have indeed been the comeback kids. They lead the major leagues with 24 come-from-behind wins, 2 more than the next closest team, the Yankees. And the Reds second only to Atlanta in all of Major League Baseball with the 13 wins in their final at bat. The Braves have 14. And, of course, interestingly enough, the Braves got one of those against the Reds. Swing which rolls foul.
Yeah, first pitch slider there by Brad Lidge, too. He is not going to chase, or at least challenge, Joey Votto with a heater on the first offering.
4 of Votto's 16 home runs have come from the 7th inning or later this season. And the 0-1 on the way off the inside corner. And again, not a fastball from Lidge.
I think those are both splitters, actually. I mean, it's really tough to tell because both of his pitches, a splitter and a slider, go straight down. You can really only tell when you see the slow motion coming out of his hand if he's got that ball stuck between his index and his middle finger.
1-1 to Joey Votto. In the air, right center field. Did he get enough? Tie game! Holy Moses, Joey Votto has delivered! Taking care of that curtain call. Joey Votto is a team guy all the way. He wants Johnny Gomes in that box to win this thing. And a roller out in front of the plate. And that'll win the inning dramatically with 2 outs and nobody on. They found a way to get him to the plate. And boy, does Votto electrify the crowd. A 3-run home run, sending us to the 10th inning at Great American Ballpark. Links beat jerky. Feed your wild side. Wild side, bottom of the 9th inning. Thanks to Joey Votto.
Well, you talk about drama. This ball club has a monopoly on that this year. Down to their last strike 2 times in that inning. Nobody out. Or 2 outs and nobody on. And Joey Votto answers with a 3-run bomb off of Brad Lidge, and this place absolutely went wild. And he's a reluctant guy. He doesn't want to come out and do that curtain call. The only reason he did is because Johnny Gomes was so distracted by what was going on in the stands. They were cheering for Votto, waiting for him to come out, and Gomes couldn't get his concentration in the batter's box. He stepped out twice, and on the second time he stepped out, Votto realized what was going on, finally took the curtain call. And the Reds are going to extras, all tied at 6. And Arthur Rhodes, who else to be out there except a guy sporting an earned run average of 0.2. A
facing Ryan Howard to begin the 10th inning, and there's strike one from Arthur Rhodes. He leads all National League relievers with that 0.28 ERA. Arthur Rhodes active 33 appearance scoreless streak. Ties a major league record.
You know, you get an earned run average down that low, you just go ahead and just call it 0.
Well, especially when you've only allowed 1 run the entire year. And that was in the 5th game of the season. But a tough out here. And a fastball in on him. I don't think that's where he meant to throw it. It looked like they were setting up a way.
Not a completely different left-hander that Ryan Howard's facing in this guy. Arthur Rhodes, and he did his last at bat against Daniel Herrera. Herrera put nothing but real slow stuff on him, and he struck him out waving at something outside. That time Rhodes tied him up with an inside heater.
Oh, that ball is hit hard into left field, and it's up against the wall. And that'll be a 2-base hit for Ryan Howard. Boy, he can hit.
Well, they tried to sneak a fastball by him and looked on the outer part of the plate. See Hernandez moving away, and that ball just kind of caught El Centro just about thigh high. And boy, he can't hit. For a big guy, a short swing, it can get on a fastball.
And it is amazing how much Ryan Howard has cut down on his strikeouts.
Well, he's cut down on his swing. And that's the first part of it. Second part of it, he's a little more diligent and conservative about chasing pitches out of the zone. But he was a strikeout artist to beat all for a while.
Now Jason Worth. The strike. Look where Votto is. We've seen Worth brought up earlier a couple of times already in the first 2 games of this series, shoot balls into right field when they were really overplaying him on defense. And now Votto well off that line, trying to cover up that hole. Worth taking a looking around at the Reds defense. Count of 1 ball and 1 strike. Two and one to Worth. And now 3 balls and a strike. Howard out at second base, representing the go-ahead run in the 3-1 to Worth. Is ball 4. Arthur thought it was a strike. But now the Phillies have the first 2 on here in a 6-6 game to begin the 10th.
Well, you got lefty versus lefty right here, Raul Ibanez. And you got to figure that even with a veteran hitter against Arthur Rhodes, with Rhodes the way he's pitching, you going to bunt Ibanez over, move that runner over to third base, make it easy for Brian Schneider to try to drive him in?
We're about to find out in a moment, although you got to wonder when the last time Raul Ibanez was asked to bunt by anybody. Does not have a sacrifice this year, and before he came to Philadelphia, he was knocking in over 100 runs for what, 3 straight years in Seattle. The Reds wondering if he might be up there to bunt. No sign of it. Strike 1.
He has 2 sacrifice bunts in his career. The last one was laid down in 2003.
That hit by Howard, only the 7th and 41 at bats this year by left-handers against Arthur Rhodes. 2-1 to count on Ibanez. And there's strike 2.
When he got 2 strikes on Ryan Howard, he went with a fastball outside. You wonder if he'll do it again here or drop the slider on him. Ibanez did not like that call. He thought that one was low. And they're getting it from the Philly dugout right now, and Charlie Manuel is going to come out here and talk to C.B. Bucknor. And he's within an eyelash of being tossed, and there he goes.
Well, he'll get his money's worth here, I'm sure.
He's telling CB that ball was down, and he saw it from the dugout.
CB not saying a word. Not a single word.
You know, there are some umpires that will engage a manager into a discussion, and both of them get animated. CB's just he's doing his best. Now he's saying that he brushed him with his hat.
Yep.
What does our Fox track say?
'37th ejection since 2002 for Manuel. All right, back to action here. More importantly, it's 0-2 on Ibanez. And that ball is in the air to deep right center field. And Stubbs bobbles, can't hang on. Howard's going to score, and for the first time since the first Saturday of the season, Arthur Rhodes has surrendered a run. An RBI double by Ibanez.
It looks like Drew Stubbs has got a beat on this ball. It would be a great catch if he could haul it in, and he juggles it out there right at the right center field wall. Take a look. Off the wall, pressed against the wall by his body. Almost has it, slipping away. Can't quite get it. Of course, once that ball is pinned up against the wall, I think that's going to be a non-catch anyhow.
Well, now Ben Francisco is up there to bat for Brian Schneider. In there, strike. Well, what a run it's been for Arthur Rhodes. Spanning 30 innings pitched without surrendering a run until tonight. And that one's off the glove of Cairo. That'll bring in one more. They'll hold Ibanez, and the Phillies now lead 8-6. That ball smoked.
Now they've hit several very hard balls in this inning. Obviously the double by Howard. Ibanez hits one off the right center field wall, and that one is scalded over the head of the third baseman. And here comes Dusty Baker.
That'll be all more than likely for Rhodes.
You know, what we really don't know about Arthur Rhodes is how bad that foot is hurting him. Been plagued by a foot injury, plantar fasciitis, for quite a while. He's pitching through that injury, and he's not going to make any excuses, but you know it's hurting.
Well, yeah, tough night tonight, but hats off for Arthur Rhodes. And the crowd knows that here in Cincinnati.
You know, the really tough thing about that, Tom, is that Charlie Manuel is managing the All-Star
Scoreless inning streak, which ends here tonight for Arthur Rhodes. The longest by a major league reliever this year. The longest by a Red reliever since Ted Abernathy back in 1967. So Arthur Rhodes will go to Major League Baseball's record book, tying Mark Guthrie in 2002 for the Mets, Mike Myers in 2000 for Colorado, of 33 straight appearances before allowing a run. Reds are down by 2, still nobody out. Runners on the corners for the Phillies, and now Nick Massett on the pitch. Massett has thrown the ball like the Nick Massett of last year here of late. Thinking something might be going on with Wilson Valdez. They pitch out, ball 1.
Yeah, probably trying to maybe ferret out a squeeze play right there.
And if the Phillies are going to do it, you do it now. There's very few managers will ask a pitcher to pitch out 2 pitches in a row, but Ibanez extremely slow, the runner at third. And they let Valdez swing away. They're already up by 2. Why not?
Well, if he's that slow from third base, he's probably got a better chance of scoring on a squeeze play than he does a sacrifice fly. Depending, of course, how deep that fly is. I think maybe they're figuring that Massett, with his stuff, might be able to overpower Wilson Valdez.
1-1 to Valdez. And there's a safety squeeze. Throw to the plate. And the runner is safe. Not a straight suicide squeeze, a safety squeeze, and Valdez gets it done, and it's a 3-run lead.
Well, a safety squeeze is one where you get a big lead from third base, but you determine after you see the bunt go down whether you're going or not. You see the bouncing there, and then when he sees that ball being bunted fair and down on line hard, he's going to take a shot at it, and the Phillies get that 3rd one in the inning. You know, that's a Pete Mackanin play right there. And he's taken over for Charlie Manuel, as Charlie Manuel's been sent up to the clubhouse, ejected from the ball game. He was the Reds interim manager for a while in 2007. And that is right out of his playbook.
Always wondered why Mackanin has not been given a chance to manage at the major league level. Chris, I know you and I were both here during that year in 07 when he took over for Jerry Naring. As that one is caught, and they can't make the double play because it throws in the dirt. They have the runner hung out to dry.
Well, he's been the interim manager several times already. He was an interim manager in Pittsburgh. He was the interim manager here in Cincinnati. Looking for a full-time gig.
I thought he did an excellent job with the Reds.
I thought he did too, but if you're going to leave a place as an interim manager and become a coach somewhere, you might as well be on a World Series winner. Or at least on a World Series contender, as he was last year.
One out, 3 in. And now the batter, Shane Victorino. Well, with this Reds team, you just never know. They tied a game on a 3-run home run in the bottom of the 9th inning by Votto, and now they're down 3 again. One and one to Victorino. Swing and a miss. Cardinals are blowing Arizona out of the gym in St. Louis 6-0, and that game is only in the 5th inning. Fly ball into right center will be run down by Bruce, and the runner stay put 2 away in the inning. J.C. Romero appears to be the pitcher we will see in the bottom of the 10th inning. We had heard before the series began that in certain situations, and it's ironic that Charlie Manuel elected to stay with Brad Lidge. It is rare you ever take a closer out of a game to bring in somebody who is not your regular guy. Well, we were told before the series began that, don't be surprised at all if the 9th inning starts with a left-handed batter or two. If in a save chance they start an inning with J.C. Romero in the 9th. What a wild night it has been, especially these last 2 half innings for each team. Reds were down 3 with 2 outs and nobody on in the 9th inning. Got a walk, a hit, a game-tying 3-run home run by Votto, but the Phillies have scored 3 against Arthur Rhodes here in the top of the 10th. Two and one to Juan Castro. And a ground ball to short will end the inning. So, the Phillies get 3. So the Reds have another rally in them. We'll find out in a moment.
Chris, down in the lower bowl here, it is as loud as I have ever heard it down here. It was absolutely deafening. And then the Phillies come back and score 3 in the top, and all the air has simply been sucked out of this place in the dugout that was simply alive a half inning ago, and everybody's sitting down. Is there any magic left? Can they make it 14 last at-bat wins, 25 come from behind victories? Boys, we shall see.
We shall see indeed. Thank you very much, Jeff Pecoro. Well, they'll have to do it against a new Philadelphia pitcher. In fact, a new battery for the Phillies, Dane Sardinha. After pinch hitting a moment ago and popping up a bunt attempt, stays in the game behind the plate, and on the mound, J.C. Romero.
Yeah, he's a tough left-hander. There's no question about that. We saw him last night. He's got a good earned run average so far this year. The one thing about Romero, though, he can get a little bit wild, as you can see, in 13 bases on balls in 14 innings.
Romero with a pair of saves so far this year. They were mixing and matching guys when Lidge was on the disabled list for the majority of this year. He has blown 1 save, has Romero. But still have a couple of big bats off that bench. Certainly a real big bat in Scott Rowland. It'll be Bruce, Cairo, Nix. Low and 2 to Bruce. J.O. for 3, walked all the way back to the first inning. Count 0-2. And a good pitch to fight off right there by Bruce. That one ran in on him.
Now they pound him inside. They'd like to get the left-handers inside. They did that with Joey Votto. They're trying it with Jay Bruce, and he's just barely staying alive. They come in there enough with a fastball, it just sets up the breaking ball. They're going to come in again.
And miss Williams.
That's where to miss.
The Reds had 2 out with nobody on, down 3 an inning ago. Put 2 on for Votto. Tied the game with a home run. They're down 3 as they bat again now in the 10th. And a pop up off the end of the bat. Easy play, 1 out. Thinking about Scott Rowland, you're not exactly in an ideal spot, even if you get 2 guys on, and of course it depends where it happens, but you don't have any outfielders to put in the game if you take somebody out. You've got an outfielder right now in Lance Nix batting. Of course, you just had Jay Bruce back, and if you get to the 5th spot here in the inning, will be Drew Stubbs' spot. But of course, all that is meaningless if you don't get anybody on, and the Reds are down to their final out. Nix with the Reds down to their final out of the game. Nix popped up as a pinch hitter in the 8th inning. That was against Jose Contreras. And now the Reds down to their final strike. Nix is looking for a new piece of lumber. They remember all the way back in that 6th inning, Scott Rowland, who by far and away is the biggest weapon the Reds had on their bench when the game began tonight. That's when Mike Leake was allowed to bat, when the Reds had drawn within a 6-3 game. And Leake batted with 2 outs and a runner at second base. 0-2 to Nix. And that's the old ball game. I give credit where credit's due. Phillies gave it up in the bottom of the ninth, but they put a 3 spot on the board in the top of the 10th to win it.
I'll tell you, they're a championship caliber team. There's no question about that. That is an understatement, obviously, but they came back after giving it up to score 3 runs, not just 1 run, but they put it on the best Reds pitcher that Dusty Baker could run out there in Arthur Rhodes. So, you know what? You have to give credit. This is a good ball club. They come in here. They're desperate to win a ball game. The Reds battled back. You got to be proud of the way the Reds came back in the 9th inning. Joey Votto, the hero for a while. They just could not finish it off. So the rubber game tomorrow, an afternoon game, not on TV, but it will be a rubber game against the Phillies and a good one to watch. So come on down to the ballpark. Plenty of seats available.
Indeed. So 9-6 the final. And we'll look forward to seeing each and every one of you again on Thursday afternoon when we will commence from Wrigley Field in Chicago. Every game on the upcoming road trip, as we mentioned earlier, will be on Fox Sports Ohio. Let's go downstairs to Jeff McCord.
Thanks a lot, Tom. You guys have a great trip, and we'll see you after the All-Star breaks. I'm not on this trip. It'll be Jim Day with you the entire trip. Well, today, that was a not Mike Leake's night tonight, that's for sure.